It'd be easy for me to sit here and explain all the benefits of journaling, but I think it'd be best for me to show you something. Cue the drawing. So right here, what you're looking at is the cone of learning. With this cone of learning, has 6 sections, 6 levels. They start shallow at the top, and as they move downwards, they progressively increase. So over on the left, we have percentages, 10, 20, 30, 50, 70, and 90. These increase as we go down. That is the amount of information you remember after 2 weeks. The first little cone, this represents reading. You remember only 10% after 2 weeks, roughly, of what you read. Now, the second one, this is hearing. You remember roughly 20% after 2 weeks of what you hear, the words. The third section are pictures, visual learning. This is why people say pictures are worth 1,000 words. Well, in this case, they're only worth an extra 10%. The fourth section is what you hear and see. So combined, that goes up another 20%. And then it jumps up to that fifth section of a discussion. Now this is powerful because if you really want to master something, discuss it with someone, okay? Teach something, that's what they say. They say the best way to learn something is to teach it. So after this video, when it's done, if you discuss this with someone, this video, this journaling format, this whatever, anything you learned in here, there's a 70% chance you're gonna remember it in 2 weeks. But the last section, this is the money maker right here. 90% after 2 weeks, we remember doing. D-O-I-N-G. That is the cone of learning. Now those percentages vary based on studies, based on everything. In fact, before this, I was looking at a blog with a guy who took himself way too seriously and just had a giant picture of him at the top with his arms crossed. He was looking at you like this through his glasses. And he was just shitting on the cone of learning. He said it wasn't true and everything was false about it and that those were kind of made up numbers. So I just want to be honest with you with that. I don't know how accurate those numbers are. Use deductive reasoning and see how if you do something, it's going to be a more active form of learning it than just talking about it or just hearing it or even seeing a picture. Why this all relates to journaling. Guess where journaling falls in that cone of knowledge? The doing part. All of those. I mean, not only the doing part, but when you go back through and look at your previous entries, you're reading it, you're seeing it, you're hearing it in your head, and you're doing it again. Journaling is the best book you've ever read because you're writing it. And this is how I set up my 2016 journal. So I busted my ass getting some of these overhead shots. And if you can't read my handwriting, it's a free video, come on. If you want this exact same journal that I'm using, this is a Pentalic sketchbook, 11 by 8.5, 110 sheets, can be 70 pounds, I don't know what that means. There's a link down below, it's my affiliate link, so I do get a commission from that, but it's at no additional cost to you. It's a cool way you can support this channel and keep these videos coming. That's 2013, that's 2014, that's 2015, and this is gonna be sometimes the more you try and touch it up, the worse it looks. Now I have to look at that ugly 6 all year. That's gonna drive me crazy. So the front cover right here, this is your quotes and your biggest lessons right on front. So you got your goals, your biggest lessons right on front. You're gonna have this, your biggest lessons, right on front. Write your name up top, by the way, and your phone number in case this does get lost. I covered up mine because the last journal video I did, one of you guys called me on it, and it was kind of creepy. So cover your phone number and cover it twice if you're making a YouTube video, okay? Not that I don't love you. Right side of it, this is where I'm gonna keep all my quotes. All the best quotes that I have of the books I get or the things that really stick out to me that I want to see every single day. These are where the quotes go on the right side. The first section is on book notes. Now I'm not saying that you have to rewrite books in order for them to mean something to you, but what I am saying is that 20% of the book holds 80% of the information. So when you're going through books, distill down that little 20% and put it in those book notes for your journal. A good exercise for the book notes section is if you can't distill down the book you read in 5 or 6 key points, you didn't really get the general concept of it. Okay, so book notes, I give myself about 10 pages, 20 pages, however many books you really think you're gonna read and distill down. And then the next section, this is the brain dump. This section's really powerful because, you know, life's not all roses. It's not all fine and dandy 24/7, nor should it be. I mean, I really think that if we don't have some of those harder times, we can't appreciate the good times. I think they're a little less than. You know, the analogy I used to use a lot on this channel is white light, all right? And that when you look at light, it's actually the sum of all colors. And it's only when you shine it through a prism or an object that it splits into all the different shades. But it's all those shades together that make up the whole. It's the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album cover. If any one of those shades is missing, the light is no longer pure, it's no longer white. You have the higher tones, the brighter tones, the reds, the oranges, the yellows. But then you also have those darker tones, the sadder tones. The greens, the blues, the purples. And it's not that those are less than, those are actually just as important as the ups. And together they make the whole. And not to overstretch this analogy, but I think that we are the sum of all colors. I think that your experience in the past sucked when you were going through them. Could be a breakup, could be you lost your job, could be someone died, could be my cat died, I don't know. But I think that you learn something from those, and those experiences are what make you human. If we didn't have those, we'd just be a cyborg running around all day, you know, everything's happy and dandy, and it'd lose its meaning. And there's something magical about transferring it and pulling it out of your head onto paper that you would think stresses you out, but actually does the opposite. It actually de-stresses you because now you don't have to carry it around and it's in there. And there's a silver lining in all this too, because you can look back on what used to stress you out 2 years ago and be thankful and learn from that again. So that's the brain dump section. I give myself, you know, I try to be an optimist. Try not to give myself too many of those pages. Maybe like one for every other week, so that's like 25 front and back, so that's like 12 pages there. So then you flip another 12 pages and get to the next section. This is video and online notes. These are everything you learn online or on blogs, YouTube videos, podcasts. It's easy to just read an article on there and just forget it and just zoom past it, or watch a TED Talk and just zoom past it. But the TED Talks that I've really liked, I've written about, and then I've started incorporating those ideas into my life. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this section. It's pretty self-explanatory. Videos and online notes. It's the same idea with books, but when you see a video online that you like, or you hear an idea, or, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're watching these videos and something sticks out to you, that'd be killer, and you put it in this section, and send me a photo of that, clark@clarkdanger.com. I would love to see if you have any online insights that we talked about on this channel. Not to see how great I am, but I genuinely like conversations with you guys, whether it's on email or comments or social media, okay? And I always respond to those. So any one of those works great, let me know. That's a big section, that's a bigger section, at least for me. And it can be whatever you want for you. Okay, the next section, business. This is our next section. Let's talk about this bad boy. For me, business notes are very important. I'm self-employed, I do radio, I do these videos, and this is the year I'm taking this channel to the next level. So I actually have taken this section one step further because I'm crazy and analytical like that, and I probably stress you out sometimes, but I've developed, let me get it for you. Shazam! I've developed a business binder. This is every single future video. That is because I am doing a lot of projects this year and I gotta stay organized. I don't say that to stress you out. You don't have to do a binder. You don't even have to do the section. Remember, these can be anything you want. It could be a travel section. It could be a relationship section. It can be whatever you want. Family section, where you keep notes on your family, where you keep notes on your travels, where you keep notes on what you're thankful for in your relationship. Anything goes for these sections. They're all interchangeable. I fall into the trap a lot, if I can just be real and honest with you for a moment. I fall into the comparison trap a lot on this online world, where I'm comparing my channel to other people's and wondering why my channel's not growing enough. Or I'm looking at my views and being like, man, I put so much heart and soul into these videos and 300 people are watching them. The business section for me is about comparing myself to myself. And I think that's the only use of comparison we can really have in this world that's useful to us. I'm not totally against comparing yourself. I do think there's times and place where comparing and comparison can be a motivational kick in the ass. But it's only that if you look at it and view it as what you could be, not what you're not already. So if you see an athlete who's doing better than you in a sport, see it as he's running a 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister did it, and so can I. Don't see it as Roger Bannister did it, he was a genetic freak, and now I am incapable of ever running a 4-minute mile, so I might as well stop running. It's how you frame things. And I think the business section, whatever your business is a really great place to stop comparing yourself to others and start comparing yourself to you. Okay, the next section is gratitude. This I won't spend too much time on. We've put up videos in the past. This is what you're grateful for. It's so easy on the day-to-day to go through and just kind of, I don't know, not appreciate what you already have. And I think that that is a quick path to unhappiness. You know, you look at celebrities who are miserable and they're living in mansions, they're driving cars, they're eating the best food or whatever, and they're still miserable. So it's not about the materialistic things, and this is all cliche, right? We know this, but how many of us do really practice this? Well, gratitude's where you can really practice that and write down the simple things, doesn't have to be complicated, that you're grateful for. And I think that that's a shortcut to happiness. Appreciation is the fastest way I've found to be satisfied, get more satisfaction, and be more grounded. Who was it that said, happiness is when you trade your expectations for appreciations? I don't know who said that. If you can find it, post it in the comments. But I like that definition, so we'll roll with that. That's the gratitude section. Ooh, before we move on, side note on gratitude, they actually found, the people that do studies, ooh, look how close I am now. Ooh. The people who do studies found that practicing gratitude once a week was more beneficial and people got more out of it than practicing it at higher numbers, at 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. And the thought behind this is because if we're forcing ourselves to do something, we're just gonna kind of go through the motions. But when it's just once a week and you're writing down 5 things you're grateful for, you're gonna show up more. So the last, right here, this guy. Right here I got big goals for 2016. Goal setting is one of those topics that I think a lot of the personal development, self-help space goes absolutely hog wild with, and I think it does a lot more harm than good. And here's why. I think there's 2 kinds of people. The kinds of people that need tightening and the kinds of people that need loosening. And I think that most of the people who are reading self-help books are the latter, are the kinds that just need to chill out, are the people like myself who need to learn to laugh at themselves more, not be more rigid, not be more disciplined. And so with that, I just wanted to preface this next goal setting section with being able to loosen up and not be so rigid on your goals and have a little bit more playfulness when you're setting them. That being said, I break my goals up into 3 areas. These are my work, my rest, and my play. We just did a video on that, and if you haven't seen it, I'll move my head, it's right there. So with work goals, these are your contribution goals. What do you want to contribute? With your rest goals, these are more personal goals. Your health, wealth, love, all that stuff. Your play goals are your adventure goals. What do you want to do this year for fun? These all can kind of blend together. I know that. It's not so mutually exclusive. But having them in the back of your journal is also really cool, again, for when you look back on the previous year and you can see what you did or didn't do, you changed your mind on. And then right there on the right, I have a book list for 2017. Those are the books I want to read by 2017. The pens I use are G2s by Pilot. My sister actually bought these for me for Christmas. She knows the way to my heart right here. So these right here, yeah, that's a lot of them. And if we're really geeking out on gear, right here I have, right here, what is this? I have a Sharpie highlighter pen that has a click out. See that? Retractable highlighter, so you don't have to take the cap off. I mean, I go heavy with the journaling gear, guys, all right? And it's not like one of these fat Sharpies that just is over there. Or like, see, you know, even with this, you gotta take the cap off. That kind of sucks. All right, and the last geek tip I have is that these Pilots right here, these are the G207s. Those are good. Those tips are a little fat. I think they make 05s too, but this, I mean, I'm telling you, I get nerdy with it. This is a Pilot G2 0.38 pen. And I love this pen because it's got a really fine tip and you can get in on all the details for your journaling. It doesn't smear. It just feels really good when you're writing. So those are the best pens I've ever found. All right, guys, I hope that video was helpful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe on this channel for more information, more personal vlogs. I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Today's question for you to answer in the comments below is, what is your #1 journaling tip? What is your #1 journaling tip? Option B for the question, or you can answer both these. Option B is, what other tool have you found extremely useful besides journaling to develop yourself? The last thing I'll just say is, if you want some journaling questions, I've put together the 11 questions to change your life free workbook on my website. There's a link in the description below, and that's quite simply just 11 questions that I've found over the years of keeping a journal and working with people that have been the best questions I've ever asked. And you can use these as kind of your first entry into a journal prompt. So these are a really great starting place I wish I had when I was getting into journaling. 100% free. All you have to do is put in your email and I'll send them right to you within like 2 minutes or something. That's all I got. Cranking out videos pretty much 3 or 4 times a week. Got personal vlogs on here. From me to you, stop settling, start living. I'll see you next time.
No, like closer to it? Closer to
I always go on these rants with you.
A little bit, but I mean...
Do you feel like you're dating a motivational speaker? Does it get annoying?
Sometimes.
And Claire, that's just what you gotta do with life. Life is like that bamboo tree.
Oh my God,
it's the Chinese bamboo tree.
This is why I don't read self-help books, ever.